Alright, so these are our three formulas for using law of cosines. They all work in the same way. These right here, A, B, and C, what does that remind you of? Pythagorean theorem. And when you use Pythagorean theorem, weren't A, B, and C always our sides?
Yes.
Okay, same thing here. A, B, and C are always just your sides. It's how long they are, their distance. And then whatever is inside these parentheses, these are going to be your angles. So the only place we put an angle is inside the parentheses beside cosine. Now, why do we have three different formulas? Because sometimes we're going to solve for A, and sometimes we're going to solve for B. And you have to know how to rearrange this formula. The most important thing about this is, what do you see in A, the first one? What's in the front? What's the first letter you see? A. And what's the last letter you see?
A.
That's what's important. What's the first letter right here?
B.
What's the last one?
B.
First,
C.
last. That's a big deal. Okay? So let's just jump in and start practicing because that's how you get your best practice. To use law of cosines, you can only use this if you know side, angle, side. If you know side, angle, side. Like this one. You know a side, you know an angle, and you know another side. So we can use law of cosines. Or if you just know all three sides and you don't know a single angle. Now on your test, because this is a little rushed, I'm going to tell you, you need to use law of sines. You need to use law of cosines. So I will tell you which one to use. So all you need to do is know how to interpret these formulas. Okay, like I said, I write big. So my work is going to take up a little bit of space. So for number one, angle C, which is right here, is 28. So I'm trying to find whatever angle this is, which is C, across from it is side C. So this is side C. 9 is what side? A. And 11 is B. So here's the thing. If we know 28 and we are solving for C, I have to use this formula. I have to use the one that starts with C. Yes, Blake?
Does it matter which side is which one? Like from A and B?
Yes, whichever one's across from it.
Not like the C in front of A and B. Is that
Yes. Well, no, not really. But I would always just practice knowing that mine's A. Whatever's across from it. So if this is angle A, across from angle A is side A. Here's angle B, across from angle B is side B. Okay? So, because I'm solving for C, whatever I'm solving for, that's the first or last letter I want to see. So this is the formula we're going to use. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of C. I want you to write it the first time. Okay? Write it just this time. After this time, I won't make you write this formula every time. So, I'm solving for C, because these are my sides. So C stays the same. But what's A?
9 squared.
So let's plug it in. 9 squared. B is 11, so I'm going to plug in 11 squared. This 2 stays the same because it's just a 2. So I'm going to multiply 2, but whatever's right here and right here, A and B. Right here I'm adding them, right here I'm multiplying them. So if 9 and 11 are right here, they're always going to be right here as well. So not squared though, just normal. 2 times 9 times 11 times cosine. Do I know cosine of C? 28. I know the angle, that's an angle, so here we go. Now, when you have your letter out here, that's best case scenario, because guess what you can do? Plug all this into your calculator at one time. Be very careful. Be very careful So 9 squared plus 11 squared minus 2 times 9 times 11 times cosine of 28. This is how it should look in your calculator. That's your answer. Hold on. Not yet. Not quite.
Oh, you said that squared.
Not square it. Not square it. But if c squared is equal to my answer, which is 27.17, to get c by itself, you have to take the square root. So c is equal to square root. I'm going to do square root, and then I'm going to do answer, and then equals. So my answer is 5.2. Yes, Blake?
Aren't you supposed to round to 27?
I mean, it's not going to make that big of a difference. In my calculator, look, in my calculator, I never rounded because I did the answer. I plugged in the answer. Okay? Did everybody try to plug this in their calculator?
Yeah.
Did everybody, do you have a calculator? Okay. Did everybody who has a calculator and plugged this in, did you get the same thing?
Yes.
Good. Okay, that's one portion. That's one way. That's if we're finding a side. Let's practice another one. We will. If you can write small, yeah. Okay, let's do number 2. Bryson, you're not falling asleep, are you? Okay, look. What's the difference in the letters? Oh, it's not ABC. It's not ABC, it's GDF. Okay, so look. Remember what I said. Whatever we're finding, whatever I am finding, if I'm finding a side, that letter's going to be outside. If I'm finding an angle, that angle's going to be outside. So in this case, I'm finding what side? G, D, or F? G. I'm finding G. So guess what goes first? G squared. Now, the order of the next two, they don't matter. The only one that matters is whichever one you're finding first, or you're finding. So if that's G, then 19 is D, 15 is F. The order doesn't matter for those two. F squared plus D squared. If I start with G, what do I have to end with? Think you can try to plug it in? Okay. G squared is what I'm finding, so that stays the same. Why don't you try to plug it in yourself and then look up here to check your answer? Because it's on the paper. Yeah, that's our angle. How are you? Good? Yes.
So you got to multiply.
There's a question. Go ahead. So we're just multiplying all that together. You just plug it all in your calculator. 15 squared plus 19 squared minus 2 times 15 times 19 times cosine 125. Alright, let's try another one. Let's try one more with sides. Try one more with sides, and then we're going to move on to angles. It's not, it's the same thing. It's just there's something that tricks you up a little bit. Alright, number 3. Here we go. What side am I finding? C. I'm finding side C. So guess what has to go first? C squared. What is 4, A or B?
A.
And 7 is?
B.
Do the order of A and B matter?
No. Oh, baby.
What, Blake? You already done? Good. Plug in A. Plug in B. 2 times 4 times 7. Cosine of what?
62. I said he wrong.
Okay. I'm not saying it.
I am doing
That's
something like
28.
how to do it.
That's 28.
Shut up. That's fine. 6.2? I still
Good. Raise your hand if you got it right. Good. Second square root, second answer. Alright, listen. Here we go. Number 4. We're going to skip because we're finding a side, and I think y'all have the hang of it. I want you now to follow along with me for number 5. We have to find what here?
angle.
X, which is an angle. Okay? But here's the thing. If this is the angle I'm finding, if I have to find angle J, so that means it's gone on the end, right? If I have to end with J, what do I have to begin with? J. So that means if this is angle J, then 1.9 is what side? J. What is 2.1? And 1.3? Okay, so you just told me that if I'm solving for angle J, I have to start with angle J. Very true. So J squared equals, this order does not matter. This is just your formula. It's spark. Like Advocare spark. No. Alright. Plug them in. J is 1.9. So 1.9 squared. K is 1.3. So we're doing the same thing that we have been, right? Now here's where we get a little stuck. I cannot plug all this in my calculator. Because part of it's over here, and x is over here, and there's an equal sign. So what I can do is go ahead and square this. So 1.9 squared.
All that equals 3.6.
No, dang, listen. She said
Well,
square 1.9.
Now, so you have to break it into sections now. You can square this. We can square and add this at the same time. So 1.3 squared plus 2.1 squared. So you can do all this at once. 1.3 squared plus 2.1 squared. And then you can do all this in one section. So negative 2 times 1.3 times 2.1. All right, but pretend you're back in Algebra 1. And this is an equation that you're having to solve. This is your x. This whole thing is your x. I can't move all of this over at once because 5.46 is stuck to cosine. So to break that, we have to divide. But this right here, this is just normal. It's just addition. So to get it to the other side, we have to subtract. So subtract first. I'm subtracting this over. 3.61 minus 6.1. Okay. Now to break this, I can divide to break this. This cancels, and I'm going to be left with this. I'm going to write answer, because that's what I'm going to put in my calculator. Answer is equal to cosine of x. That's not answer. I'm not done. Okay? Because if I break cosine in x, then I have to do what? Inverse. Inverse. So it's easiest to just plug in your calculator. Inverse of cosine equals your answer. So do second cosine, second answer, and this is your answer. So I had to solve this like an equation in Algebra 1.
How do you get 0.9? I mean, how does 6 run to 10?
0.86. 6 is greater than 5, so it rounds up to 9.
Okay.
Can we do one more? Let's do 6.
Hold on.
All right.
Bryson, put your head up, please.
What was that? 52.8?
0.9. Round up. Okay, here's 6. What angle am I solving for? I'm solving for M, angle M, and if I'm solving for angle M, that means it's going last. What has to go first? M. The other two don't matter the order.
This shape is confusing me.
8 is M, Q is 3, P is 6. Alright, so we have 8 squared equals 6 squared plus 3 squared. 3 is Q. Alright, y'all shouldn't need a calculator for most of this. What's 8 squared?
64.
6 squared.
36.
6 squared.
36.
Wait. 8 squared is not.
Yes, it
6
is.
squared.
It's 36. 6 times 6 is 36.
You're right.
Miss Jenkins was happy.
Negative 2 times 6. Negative 12. Negative 12 times 3. 36 plus 9.
I don't know.
45.
You're done.
Alright. Now let's start solving. 64 subtracts your 45. So 64 minus 45 is 19. Good. Equals negative 36 cosine of x. We're almost done. Divide by negative 36. Divide by negative 36. This cancels. I get 19 divided by negative 36, which I'm going to write as my answer. Because if I'm solving for an angle, then I have to do the inverse of my answer. Congratulations, you've reached the point in your high school math career where you're taking up more than half the page. You can. It's not going to be scratched because you're going to turn it in. 121.9. Alright. So, tonight, hey, I'm not done. Tonight, for homework, you are going to finish the 3 we didn't do. We didn't do 6, 7, or 8. So listen, I want you to do 4, 7, and 8. 4, 7, and 8. Now, here are the answers so you can check your work. 4 is 9.1. 4 is 9.1. 7 is 28. And 8 is 48.8. Okay? Those 3. So please don't pack up because you still have time right now to get some of those done. Yeah. Keep working. You can't ask me questions when you go home.
Email. I was so scared. But see how you still recording.
Yeah, you are.
Will no longer be allowed to do that. Park at Warrior Park. Officer Parker will be redirecting students in the morning to Park at Warrior Park. So again, if you can park in Municipal Park, not be allowed to do so any longer.